Filip and the New York Rangers have agreed to a 4-year contract extension worth a total of $17.75 million. So that comes out to $4.4375 per season. And I like this deal a lot for the New York Rangers. And it's a good deal for Filip as well. Filip was going to be a restricted free agent. He's getting paid $2.3 million, so a little less than double what he's making now. And they bought out, I believe, 2 years of unrestricted free agency. And Chytil is someone that is really, really getting better and better each year. This year, in 66 games so far, 22 goals, 20 assists, 42 points, and a plus 16. And he really came on strong in the playoffs last year. In 20 games in the playoffs, scored 7 goals after scoring only 8 in all of last regular season. But you can see he's coming on. He was a first-round pick in 2017, the 21st selection overall. And this is after Elias Anderson really was a total bust. Ends up getting traded to the Kings and really hasn't made a name for himself at all in the NHL. But Filip, and again, you want to include Vitaly Kravtsov in 2018. But Chytil has been one player, and he's really one of the longest tenured Rangers at this point. He has really developed into a really nice player. And look, this deal could have really been maybe $5 million. Like if this had been a $5 million deal per season, that would have not, you could have understood why. So I really have no complaints with this. 4 years. Yeah, look, would you have wanted it to be more than 4 years? Yeah, sure. But that's, they had to balance this out for the player and for the team. Filip still only 23 years old. Not turning 24 until September 5th. So it's crazy. He's been, he played a bit in 2017, 2018. So it's interesting that he was around, not much, but he was around when Alain Vigneault was the head coach. So, and it's been a lot of ups and downs. 2019, what was a, total learning curve. This was the first year under David Quinn. 2020 ends up being what I thought was a really solid season for Chytil, where he starts out in Hartford. Now, 2019, he was all with the Rangers. He was not with Hartford. 2020, he had struggles early on, goes down to Hartford, does a really nice job, plays 9 games, gets 9 points, and comes back up and really looked rejuvenated. And in 60 games, the numbers aren't crazy, but I remember I like how he was playing. Then you have the 56-game shortened season. Chytil, I think he was on the verge of really doing something, I think, really good, and gets injured. And so that kind of begins Filip getting injured a bit. In 2021, it's still not a terrible season. It was 22 points in 42 games, and he was a +9 under David Quinn. Last regular season was honestly a major disappointment. And there was injury, there's been injury things there. He missed 15 games last year, and that was definitely a combination. There was a few healthy scratches in there as well. It wasn't just injury, but he only had, it was really bad. Think about it. 2021 and even 2020. He had 22 points in 21, 23 points in 2020. Now he had 60 games in 20, 42 games in 21, and then 67 games in 22. So he really dropped off. And then in the playoffs with the kid line, 7 goals and a lot of big, he was fantastic, and he's carried that into this season. So the Rangers are set down the middle with Mika Zibanejad, who's under contract through, the 29-30 season, Trocheck through 26-27, and now Filip as well. So, Trocheck, through 28-29. So, these centers are locked in for a while, Chytil being the least of them. Obviously, Chytil has the least, doesn't have the track record as, he's at a different part of his career. But, like I said, really like this deal a lot. And so now what's next? I think K'Andre Miller, you got to think that the deal for him will probably be a little bit more. He's a defenseman, but something in this range, something within this vicinity. K'Andre Miller is going to be a restricted free agent, and for him, it's a bigger raise because right now he's still on that ELC, only making $925K. Whereas Chytil, he had already gotten, I guess you call it a bridge deal at 2.3. So for K'Andre, definitely going to get a raise, and deservedly so. So that's a big one. And then the other one is Alexis Lafreniere, which won't be as much. Lafreniere, it probably is going to come in, I guess, at around 2.5 to 3 million, somewhere in that range. Kako is at 2.1. And I do think Lafreniere will make more than Kako. Maybe not by that much, but by a decent amount. It's kind of hard to say. And what Lafreniere does for the rest of the season and the postseason probably plays a role in that. But Keandre Miller, certainly, it's going to be more in that Chytil range, probably even a little bit more than that. And so I look at this roster, I look at the breakdown for years coming out, and I think that Barclay Goodrow is likely to be a cap casualty. It's just, I don't see it any other way. Forgetting about Tarasenko and Kane, but let's just, because I don't really know how that fits. And even with that being said, like, let's say, like, even if, I mean, certainly if you're trying to fit one of them in, then to me, Goodrow is absolutely a goner. But even if not, I do think it's going to be a tough time to bring him back. The problem with him is, and yes, when they don't have Tarasenko and Kane, Goodrow does find himself certainly more in the top 9 than the fourth line, but still, you know, to make $3.64 million in the role he has, the value just isn't quite there. Don't get me wrong, Goodrow is a big reason for the team's success the last couple of seasons, really is, and you would feel that loss. That's just what happens when you have a good team and you have a young team and you're giving out contracts. Even this one with Chytil, which I think is a fair, good deal. That's just what it is. And so you certainly don't want to get rid of Ryan Lindgren. That to me, you can't have happen. Just can't. Even knowing that there's going to be injuries down the road with him, and, you know, does Ryan Lindgren, is he going to have a long career? I don't know. But certainly right now, you can't mess with that. So I think when I look at this, it would kind of be surprising to see Goodrow in a Ranger uniform next year, but who knows what happens, right? Maybe the playoffs go terribly wrong and some bigger name players are kind of headed out. We'll see. But I didn't expect this, and I'm glad that Chris Drury got ahead of it. Filip Chytil back in the fold, and, you know, we've seen Chytil for a while. It's taken some time, and he deserves this. This was hard work. You know, is he good at faceoffs? No, not a faceoff guy. Is he the most defensively responsible? No, but he's getting better there. I don't know if he'll ever really be, you know, a penalty kill type of player, but I could see, look, Chris Kreider, you look at him, like, the first, 6, 7, 8 years of his career, had no penalty kill experience at all. All of a sudden, gets a chance in the PK, and he's really a top performer there. So you just never know with that, but you love his speed. And, I think Ranger fans are going to be happy about this. Again, Filip Chytil extended by the New York Rangers. It's a 4-year contract extension for Filip Chytil.